Now today we'll be doing the speed test comparison between the iPhone 16e and the Z Fold 6. Now these both phones are like pretty much different, like completely different. The price point is completely different for these both devices. The Z Fold 6 is a very expensive device. It's a foldable phone. The iPhone 16e is kind of a budget phone. It's very much cheaper than the Z Fold 6. But obviously, like both devices has completely different things to offer than each other, and we just go ahead and just do the speed test comparison. The chip on the iPhone 16e is pretty much great. I would just say is the iPhone's A18, is the Apple's new A18 chip, which is pretty much great. The RAM on this one is half of what the Z Fold 6 has. It has 6 GB. The Z Fold 6 has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with the 12 gigs of RAM. Obviously, the RAM is almost double, but we'll just see like how much that extra RAM just makes a difference on these both phones. And you might be a person like who just considering to just get either of these devices. So, or maybe if you're just looking forward to get any other device like the S24 Ultra that has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and you're just comparing with the Apple iPhone 16 or iPhone 16e, so you will just have an idea about which would be just better for gaming. Now the thing is that like the aspect ratio on the Z Fold 6 is weird than what the iPhone 16e has. So you might just get the better gaming experience, or the iPhone 16e might be the reason you want to go with the iPhone 16e and save a lot of bucks. Now we'll just not go in the depth of the specs of these phones. We'll be just mainly running the speed test comparison of both devices. We just close down the back apps, and we just make sure like there's no apps running on the background. So we start with the the both devices are connected to the same network. Now we just boot up the phone itself. And we see which one just opens up first. Alright, so iPhone 16e was the first one to open. And the Z Fold 6 followed up this one. We just quickly go ahead and just unlock the phone. Now we just go ahead and just start our speed test now. So first we just go ahead and just open the Pinterest. So it was faster on the Z Fold 6. Let's check the animations of these phones. So one thing I'm noticing, like the Z Fold 6 feels pretty much smooth in terms of the animation because of being a 120Hz display, while you just feel slightly stuttering kind of view on the iPhone 16e because it has a 60Hz display. So yeah, so animation feels much more smoother on the Z Fold 6. We just go ahead and just now open the InShot. So Z Fold 6 felt like instant. Then we just open the Play Store and the App Store. So Z Fold 6 is the first one to open. Then we open the calendar. So Z Fold 6 being almost a lot older than the iPhone 16e feels like obviously a little bit faster. So let's go ahead and just open the YouTube. So Z Fold 6 was the first one. Then we just open the speed test. iPhone 16e was the first one. We just go ahead and just run the test itself. So iPhone 16e was the first one to finish the test, followed up obviously by the Z Fold 6. And now we just go ahead and just open the calculator. So Z Fold 6 was a faster one. Now we'll open the camera on these both phones. So iPhone 16e was slightly faster. Then we'll open the Xperia. So Z Fold 6 was the faster one, and then we just open the light cut. So iPhone 16e was the first to open. So let's open the Chrome over here and let's see which one just opened faster. So the Z Fold 6 was the first one to open, and obviously the smoothness that you get on the Z Fold 6 is pretty much nice. The screen on these both phones are pretty much nice. But the thing is then the scrollability, once you're just scrolling, so it feels so much smoother on the Z Fold 6 than the iPhone 16e. Like a 60 Hz display in the 2025 for the iPhone 16e feels like, and at this price point I would just say makes no sense, to be honest. Apple should have included the 120 Hz display on this one, even on the 16th regular 16th model. It has to be standard for the Apple, at which it's like a selling the phone itself. Not sure Apple is just maximizing its profits or what, like but it's still like there's quite a big cutout, I would just say, on the device itself, because the screen is the main thing from which the user interacts with the phone, and the 60 Hz display just ruins the experience of the phone itself. Now let's go ahead and just maybe click over here. So alright, so Z Fold 6 was the first one to open, and now we just go ahead and just open the clock. So Z Fold 6 was the first one to open, and then we just go ahead and just open the Amazon. So Z Fold 6 was the first one again, and now we just start launching some games over here, and we'll see how this one performs. So we just go ahead and just do the service serve. And the Z Fold 6 was the first one to open this one, which is quite surprising that the A18 chip is pretty much great too. And we just go ahead and just play a little bit of the game on these both phones, and we'll see how this one performs. So the gameplay obviously feels pretty much nice on this phone, like there's nothing to complain regarding that one. The screen is obviously pretty much nice. Once you're just playing the game itself, so you won't notice so much of a 60 Hz of display. Like to a human eye, like I don't find much of a difference. Obviously, like this game is like kind of a basic, so probably the reason that I'm not noticing this one. But like I did a gameplay on the iPhone 16e, and I was unable to notice any sort of difference with the other phone having a 120 Hz of display. The colors are pretty much nicely calibrated on this phone, I would just say. There's nothing to complain regarding that one. Alright, so we just go ahead and just start with the Z Fold 6. I find the speakers to be slightly better on the Z Fold 6, I would just say. And colors, I can say like these are like at par with the iPhone. Alright, so this feels pretty much nice gameplay on these both phones. Like I couldn't find any sort of difference, despite the fact like they have a different launching speed of the game. Now we just go ahead and just open the Temple Run 2 over here. So I think they were pretty much similar, slightly faster on the Z Fold 6, I can say that. Now we just go ahead and just launch the S24 Legends Unite on these both phones. Okay, so that was pretty much similar, I can say, on both phones. Couldn't find so much difference. Now the one thing you just notice, like these black corners on top and bottom, just feels like the gaming experience is slightly ruined up on the Z Fold 6 if you're just playing this one on the front screen. So yeah, that I wanted to be just show you guys, like that's the issue that prevails with the Z Fold 6. And now we just go ahead and just launch the CSR Racing 2 on these both phones, and we see which one just performs faster. So faster on the iPhone 16e. Now we just open the Ray Racing 3 on these both phones, and we see how this one performs. So slightly faster on the iPhone 16e, I can say, but pretty much similar. Both landed on a different screen, I would just say. Now we'll just open the Modern Combat 5. So faster on the iPhone 16e. Yes, it is. Now we just run the Need for Speed No Limits on these both phones. Faster on the iPhone 16e. Now we just open the King Arthur on these both phones, and we see which one opens first. So faster on the iPhone 16e, and now we just go ahead and just open the Diablo Immortal on these both phones. So faster on the iPhone 16e. Yes, it is. And now we just open the Geekbench 6 test on these both phones. So faster on the Z Fold 6. I've already done the test on these both phones, so I just go ahead and just discuss the results. so the scores we get on this one are like pretty much different. Like on the Z Fold 6, the CPU single core, you just get 1831 and a multi-core of 5484. On the iPhone 16e, you're just getting almost double, 3029, and the multi-core score to be much more better than the Z Fold 6, which is like 7548. And we just go ahead and just check the GPU scores on these both phones, which I've done like previously. So CPU, so you can see like the GPU score on the Z Fold 6 is 10,152. On the iPhone 16e, you're just getting the 24,144, which is almost more than double of the GPU metal score. So I'm not sure how that one just translates to the practical usage of the phone, but the gaming feels like a slightly faster on the iPhone 16e. Now we just run the 3D Mark test over here. We just start with the with the Steel Nomad Light test, and we'll just see which device just performs better. on this test. The one thing I'm noticing, like the iPhone 16e is like performing slightly better in terms of the frame rates than the Z Fold 6, but we just wait for the final results to show up. And the iPhone 16e has finished the test with the total overall score of 1165 and the average frame rate of 8.6 fps. And the Z Fold 6 has already been finished, and the overall score you're just saying is a 1091 on the Z Fold 6 with average frame rates of 8.08. So iPhone just done slightly better on the score for the 3D mark, and we just go ahead and just further analyze these results. So for the battery percentage, like for the Z Fold 6, it just stayed at the 60%, while on the iPhone 16e it dropped from 55 to 50%, which is kind of a significant drop. That means like maybe the 3D mark is just putting so much strain on the processor itself for the iPhone 16e. Not sure about that. When the temperature stayed same, 39 degrees centigrade to 39 degrees centigrade, there was no increase on the temperature on the Z Fold 6. The frame rates were average 5 fps to 17 fps. On the frame rates on the iPhone 16e, you're just getting slightly lower side, 6 fps to max of 15 fps. So 17 fps being the better on the Z Fold 6, I can say that. And with regards to the holdability of the device, so both are running like pretty cooler. So yeah, so now what that concludes to, now these both phones are like completely different. So if we just focus on the chips itself, so both are pretty much capable chips, and the configuration that you get on these both phones. But obviously like the Z Fold 6 is way ahead, and obviously it's a way expensive than the iPhone 16e. But if you're just a person who's just getting a device just for the gaming, then obviously you can just go ahead and just get the iPhone 16e. There are obviously like other options too in the market that you might want to consider, but in this case, like obviously the iPhone 16e could be the choice with the better aspect ratio. The screen on the Z Fold 6 is better in terms of you have 120 hertz display, you have so much versatility with regards to that one. So both have like their own benefits. Obviously the most benefits you can get is obviously for the Z Fold 6 because it has so much to offer, but it has so much of a increased price point that you just get. So yeah, so do let me know like which device you guys will choose in the comments, and if you guys have any questions, just let me know down in the comments. And please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching again. Have a good day. Bye.